technology as far as this composition goes. This is some very honest Valorant, some very 2022 kind of Valorant, 2023 kind of Valorant. Just, you know, against something far more modern with the Yoru involved. Though even still a bit unorthodox, having the fade. These are some interesting choices from either side, but it's going to be Ambrosia just trying to get into A quickly.
I mean, Paper Rex also like to play the fade on this map, right? I mean, they've run 2 duelists as well, so let's not get too ahead of ourselves. But it is a look that's been adopted by some teams. And in the past, obviously, it was seen as the far superior option over this over, unless you're com, of course, in this kind of map. Still Burger Boys. After the rubber hits the road early in the round, they're feeling pretty good, but they're mostly over on the A side of the map here. And plenty of info for Shondex, who would like to have touched without showing himself, but now he's going to have to do it the old-fashioned way. Prakto gets rid of it, and it's down to Welly.
I wanted to find a kill to even things up. Can't be mad at him for attempting the play, but just couldn't connect the shots. I think this is a good position from Welly, though. Definitely not one that you would highly expect. So potential to get a free kill on Bonnie.
Enemy down.
This is one. Here's the haunt. Cleared instantly. Go just below him. Welly, yeah. Thinks he might have an opportunity. Thinks it might have been tapped or faked. Doesn't quite have the gumption to go for it in the end. Burger Boys, okay. This is the kind of bounce back that you're looking for. Although, I will say pistol rounds weren't exactly an issue for them previously. They still struggled, so definitely want to try and post up a healthy total on this defense side of Split.
If you look at the minimap there at the very beginning, Burger Boys were, I think, stacking, if not just very quick to get in over on A with almost the entirety of the team when the hit was coming in, trying to get through main players, just getting vulnerable up by the snake bites on the ground. Acrid has gone for the one sheriff on the Ambrosia side, everyone else with classics. Again, just kind of straightforward here, it seems, on the open. Get that orb towards B main. Make a lot of presence, and then they just left the spike over here on A with Shondex controlling the area so they can try and work this side of the map in the mid-round.
Shondex gets across that smoke, at least set up some potential double swing. He took a small amount of damage in order to do so. I like the insert over towards the mid side of the map here at least. Acreon will be able to at least hear any rotates. Punish anyone who dares go sewer, but that would be a little out of the ordinary. Nana sees what all he needs to see. He's going to pull the rotates across the map. Now, how quick can Ambrosia be about this? They're still going to fight through this Viper wall. Nana's just happy to give up ground. Playing a range at the Spectre is a little more effective, but Prakto is out of the picture. Playing from Heaven's side. Paranoia came through. Unclear if it clipped onto anybody. 35 seconds left to find a plant. Acreon finally made his way up mid and is keeping Alvin at least occupied.
30 seconds left.
Probably get some info at least on Nanner's position, but what are Ambrosia supposed to do when that Viper wall is up defensively and then it gets cycled into the dark cover? Nice timing for that to be, you know, thrown down by Nanners. And Acreon finally dealt with on the flank. This round is as good as done. There's no time left and no real weapons to play with. I mean, some kills are being found, some fair damage to be done, but ultimately, Burger Boys very much in control of that round, though they'll be, you know, unhappy, dissatisfied to only have 2 players remain.
Yeah, it just makes this bonus a little less compelling. It's only the couple of Spectres that they were able to maintain from that second round. So they'll obviously be undergunned a little bit. Just buy down in order to have a proper buy in round 4, of course. Whereas Ambrosia bide their time. This is how things go down. It's just back to caught on a bit of an awkward timing. The only thing that kind of gives the illusion of there to being a sort of round to play here.
I mean, maybe if Acreon had gotten that kill on the flank, that's the only way they could have done something. I like this from Burger Boys, though, on this bonus round. A bad bonus buy. Let's go push down mid. 4 players stacked up to try and get an early pick.
Prowler here. Got pretty instantly, so Ambrosia don't have a whole lot to go on.
I mean, the question is,
by a Spectre.
You know, do Ambrosia, do they try to just pop flash out of this with the Yoru, take the fight to them? Yes, they will.
Like that, satellite lands, 2 feet planted. Prakto again, the play that's caught. There's actually a cross back over mid. They're concerned, I think, about the A side of the map, Burger Boys, and they, as they would be, given how fully committed they are to mid. So they'll send Retro over there. Ultimately, it's pretty fruitless. It won't be a damn thing for the Viper to see, but at least he can tuck, maybe play heaven side, go for a sound cue. Now Ambrosia, with the insert, presumably if Acreon left to watch mid, no, even he's going to join them in sewers.
Satellite actually sent a fake gate crash teleport up into the vent, and Burger Boys don't have eyes on that. So as far as they know, it is possible that he could be there. Well, now they know he is not. The clone is coming through main. The entirety of Ambrosia want to get through this choke point, but again, they've left themselves such little time. Well, fortunate when you get the spam kill, and now the site is free, though.
Yeah, and it was a gate crash in either way. The spam kill or the Yoru likely to take something there. All grouped up in screens, Burger Boys. Paranoia over towards the elbow, but Satellite just got really nice positioning. And only one gun drop so far for this buy of Ambrosia. Unlikely Burger Boys have a whole lot to do. Only with the rifle, but of course can buy in the next, so may as well see what you can rustle up. The answer is nothing. More spam through the smoke now as Ambrosia clean Burger Boys off the map. Get their first, and again, four rifles rather maintained from their first gun round. It's a good sign.
You know, it's not as painful to run the clock down in some of these rounds when you're not going up against a breach, Teja. So it's just not as agonizing of an experience, you know? You can't actually take the site with 25 seconds left in plan. You aren't going to get missiled from across the map. Yeah, I like this world that we live in, I think. I might be enjoying this post-Tejo world. I think we needed a break from that.
It's given us, like, I mean, teams that right now have very different takes on how to play in the post-Tejo meta, right? We've seen this yesterday as well. No real consensus about how they want to go about the loss with air quotes of that initiator. He's out on Cyber. Ooh, okay.
Seized up as well. That's really nice. Satellite pops out. Instant trade from Glyph and gets the second as Retro tries to drop to catch a timing.
Factor here just speculates a little bit through the dark cover. Now that you start to really think about the save. 2 versus 4 in the post plant. Yet Factor's hoping that something serves itself up for him. Nanos is here as well. Dark cover refresh though up in heaven. And yeah, I think they've definitely decided that they're done with this kind of round. And that's a great result. Only 2 players down on the Ambrosia side of things of the last couple of rounds. That buy from Burger Boys really overwhelmed, and it's at C's, right? Catching the player out on that B site. When there was the gate crash follow-up, it's clear to see Satellite is more than happy to run it down.
And then after the fact, Glyph just gets that rapid trade when the attention is placed from the defenders on Satellite. It's good for the second when Retro drops out the smoke into hell. Just a nice set execute, playing around that dimensional drift. I will say Ambrosia on both the prior map, Ascent, and Split so far, they do a really good job at prioritizing getting these orbs onto Satellite so they can take full advantage of what is one of the best ults in the current meta. That is an aspect of the game that they are, not letting go unnoticed, which is a mistake that a lot of teams make, not putting enough emphasis on getting those ults up quick, getting all of those orbs, but they have succeeded with that.
All right, Retro backs up off mid. We'll of course be able to toggle that poison orb now, holding Ambrosia at bay whilst they get exploratory here towards B main. But Acreon playing a bit more safely. And I think the sound that Willie was making might have even encouraged Burger Boys to look a little bit deeper, but no. They decide to head back up to heaven instead. So a lot of rotations here, a lot of the defense side trying to outmaneuver. They might try and pop themselves out into mid here.
Burger Boys have shown a bit of a tendency, at least a couple times so far in this game on rounds like this, where they are just going for these really big 4-man group up death ball stacks. So Ambrosia want to take their time, make sure that they don't run into something like that. They are setting up right now for that A-side execute. Matter of fact, I don't even need to. They can just get into the site for free, and Retro hunting for information punished.
Oh, man. I mean, it's tough with these kind of weapons, to be fair. Kill those 2 rifles saved. One of them just clattered to the ground. Care of Satellite getting in there with the shorty.
30 seconds left.
And again, Alvin, as much as he'd love to try and recover that downed weapon, he doesn't have the ability to really smoke that space out. He wants to try and fight for it. But he's on the ground. Okay, recoverable. But I mean, the fact that we're using that as a suspenseful device isn't a great sign, right? Burger Boys really now digging deep into the pockets and only coming up with a bit of lint. Alba did take a weapon for his troubles, and of course can fight this, but Akrian been very clever this round. First, the passive hold B side. Now waiting for that wrap via ramp, and it's Ambrosia stacking him up now. That economy is getting a little out of hand.
That's exactly what I was about to say. I mean, losing one gun there. Hell, even if Alvin gets like the 2-3K jumping out of that, really does not matter at all. The money is crazy for Ambrosia. And it sucks to be in this position when you're on the defensive side. You know you should be racking up rounds on a map like Split on defense, but then you're under this economic pressure every single time you get a full buy up. You're never getting as good of a buy as the attackers. Things can just get out of hand so quickly. Now they have to deal with a nightfall on this round from Welly.
Horn thrown out. See nothing to play off that as Satellite's already quite deep. Fractor here has to do what he can to sort of dig him out. Trailblazer hits, so that's going to force a gate crash away. But again, much of this A presence was contingent on what happened in mid, and Ambrosia was definitely in a position to pull an audible. It's a little more dangerous now, but I don't think they expect the second player to be up mid. Glyph might be able to get something done here. But now the defender's getting active, while Ambrosia is sort of dithering and trying to decide where they want to be.
One enemy remaining.
The pressure is getting applied by Burger Boys. And now no one's expecting Glyph to come from this position, in fairness, but he's got a lot of work to do. 1 versus 4, Spike loose, and Retro is going to check that ram spot anyway. Now, cat's out the bag.
Even just some damage could go a long way, honestly, if Glyph can pick off 1, maybe 2 players.
Right. Not much to say about that one. But again, Ambrosia 3 rounds in a row. They only lose 3 rifles amongst those. So, money-wise, nothing really to worry about right now. A lot of ultimates becoming developed. Curious to see like how Bonnie wants to make a bit of space for this showstopper. Obviously, Welly has a Nightfall at the ready. This is the early exchange that forced the gate crash.
Retro being able to just slide up the rope and kill Akron in mid, not too bad. And then Burger Boys really just going to take some raw duels over towards A main, finding a window to swing together. I could definitely see something happening on this round, or maybe a future one, where Welly tries to send out that Nightfall, connect onto a player so they can't hear anything, and then you send in your Omen ultimate to get behind them. You know, maybe somewhere on back B. We've seen plays like that before.
Yeah, right up in that corner. Even in towards CT is an option. But now again, pretty even spread across the map. This round, it's going to be Shondex watching the push up on B. I mean, he's even got it trapped. Ambrosia convinced that at some point Burger Boy is going to try and throw in one of those group pops through B. It's definitely mid as the focus, as it has been. So a lot on Retro's plate, as has been the case for much of the series for him.
So here's that Prowler sent alt mid that does in contact with Retro, but Satellite over here in the meanwhile has just been taking his time, trying to wait for someone to get exposed. Well, they get the information on Alvin back site, but it's not like they can really do much right now to burst onto him. Satellite is just hoping that he'd give himself up.
I think these fabricators from Alvin let him move up, sure, but it kind of helps the attackers as well. Lets him get in there. Showstopper went for very little. Alvin, though, finally springs forward. Retro finds a decent time in a drop-off raft that just as that Heaven position was heavily hit by the attack side. Glyph again has the opportunity to make this later play through mid. He's already been looked for, though, and he's got to be mindful of the spray coming from the low ground. That spike is unrecoverable, utterly impossible for Glyph. May as well have gotten out of there, but this is Ambrosia just making use of their financial reserves to try and keep Burger Boys quiet. Couple rough rounds, though, on the trot for Ambrosia.
That's another round where Retro is just really high impact. Getting that multi-kill, swinging out of Heaven while his anchors on the site were absorbing the pressure, the attention. Comes up with 2 very important kills to get the advantage in the round. And this moment right here, getting a kill on Hell and then dropping down. Welly is so locked in on the player that was just dancing around backside. And suddenly this huge advantage Ambrosia have, it is dwindling at this point. Their loss bonus is going to be crazy, so even if they lose again, they can keep buying, but...
Yeah, which is pretty nice for them, just because they had so many clean rounds at the start of this half. But definitely not in the same commanding position they were at 3-2 round score. Retro's doing a good job just not exposing him to any of the volatility happening in mid right now. Nanas again has been standout for this team. Spray on Satellite of all people, who was one orb away from the dimensional drift. And eventually mid is given up by Burger Boys. The side that's canvassed though with so much of this Cypher util.
Well, he is pushed up right now solo. He is the guy with the spike, so a little bit dangerous. Wants to rip this Nightfall. Looks like he'll get a connection onto just one. Yeah, that's just Practo in spawn. Doesn't actually get crucially onto Alvin, who's anchoring backside again.
It does give Heaven control over to Ambrosia, so they got to convert off this now. Screens is still an issue. Alvin's tucked here in elbow. There's Practo. He was playing in screens. Might have been a spray down there. Double swing.
One enemy remaining.
Alvin's just going to hold his ground. Beautifully done. Damn, this Burger Boys defense side is looking a little different now. Oh, 3K for the boy. 2-round lead open up.
Yeah, just that extra little sidestep to obscure the aim from Alvin. Love that at the end. 2 players from Burger Boys now sitting at a nice little 9 and 4 stat line. That's going to force Ambrosia into the timeout. Things have been looking so good for them, but not anymore. Actually thought when I saw the economy initially they'd have enough to try and force into this. Would be a little rough but reasonable, but doesn't seem that that's actually really the case. They have 2 players on Sheriffs. Ambrosia were looking really nice in some of these early rounds, but trying to contact into these sites, it's been pretty slow, and it's just allowed Burger Boys on multiple occasions now to be able to rotate their entire team in. Just flood, fight together. You know, there's not really oppressive utility that's being thrown onto them. They're just doing a nice job with the fundamentals. This is in a situation like this, you know, they have 2 players coming out backside, or rather through screen, while Alvin is holding backside.
I think like Ambrosia are having trouble finding an advantage or an edge in the middle of the map. There's just nothing there for them. And then dealing with the Viper on defense, right? So that poison orb always being toggled is always going to slow you right down. But some of the more successful rounds for Ambrosia featured like a fast V hit, V split through mail. Instead, we've seen like this token mid presence and then like a slow walk up ramp into heaven, and a lot of emphasis being placed on that part of the map. While Burger Boys anchor inside the A site and sort of win their fights. So Ambrosia are looking a lot less inspired in the last 3 rounds. Back to the well and back to B might be the call though.
Yeah, they do. Okay, they're reasonable buy here with the Triple Guardian. Again, just trying to walk on into the site, then execute close, playing around that cloud.
And now they realize they're dealing with the raise at this site. Nice little nade there for Bonnie's going to delay this plant. Caught in the seas. Paranoia comes past. Bonnie's hoping to capitalize off of it. Retro put Shondex with the molly of all things. Okay. The boys are back.
There's a combination of the Burger Boys getting really fast into these sites to help their anchors, and Ambrosia just not getting forward, not closing the distance, not getting control of much of anything. They're just dying in the chokes multiple rounds in a row at this point, whether it's on B or A. They're just not getting to the site. They're not even getting past default in that situation. Over on A, Alvin is never getting pressured playing in backside. The pace really needs to be increased here. They were relying on that teleport forward from Glyph, but he got blinded up. We're going to keep it simple. Everyone over on this A side. Alvin's going to have another opportunity to thrive just playing off these trips.
I think he just wants a safe place here to TP. And he ends up in elbow. So the staging ground on the side here for Ambrosia. Acreon's already taken down though. That was Alvin from screen as far as I can tell. Just straight sprayed through the smoke. Dangerous to be here in elbow. They're going to take the fight anyway. Satellite pushes up with the judge. This is looking better. And Practo is far too slow to react. Bonnie's on the stick. Okay. That's on the approach here. He gets off of it. Got it to half. And Glyph had to fully check this. So TP up. Now Bonnie has a win condition set up. He knows the Omen plays above him. The concern is where Shondex is likely, as he's figured out, setting up a high-low swing. The Glyph drops off now. Double swing should be an option, Bonnie. He's done that so well. Shondex can't give him anything for free, though. 14 health left for Bonnie. And finally, Ambrosia get into the game. It's cost them a lot. Multiple rounds of heavy spend. And now Burger Boys are the ones who can buy up for the rest of the half.
And finally, a situation for them where they get really deep into sight. It's because Satellite has that dimensional drift. is able to get into elbow, comes into the round with the judge, and then just catches a nice moment to be able to fight the players that are pulling out of screens right here while their attention is focused on the fight, or rather the players from Ambrosia that was Shondex fighting in that A main side on the orb. They finally get some deep sight control, finally able to set up a good post plant.
That was, of course, the dimensional drifter that got them started. Ambrosia were able to get into the A side artificially, and oh man, there's been far too many of these happening early in the round.
I mean, how many first kills have Burger Boys gotten in a row right now? It's ridiculous.
And just as Ambrosia reset their loss bonus, they get clapped in this round 11. First kill is just a straight spray. Flawless round here will be devastating. 8-4 half is about to rear its head. Not disastrous, but still. It's this split we're talking about.
It's just been a very straightforward approach from Ambrosia. You know, again, just trying to go really fast up A. I mean, maybe there was going to be some attempt where they feel like they could pivot through vent and then, you know, meet up with Shondex in mid, or try to pop flash with the Yoru out of their Viper wall to fight someone that would have been playing back heaven like Practo, but they're just making so much noise that he gets the free spam kill with the Phantom. I mean, I think the first bloods have to be so highly Burger Boys favored on this half right now. I mean, I know they just got the back-to-backs there. I think 3 in a row for sure, but it's been very tough for Ambrosia to find anything early. And now in this last round, economically, they are so cooked.
10 seconds left.
And the potential, of course, of that 8-4 half now really be realized. Viper's Pit here for Retro build up. He's looking for showstopper heading into the next one. That's on Dex.
Oh, he does get away. Also, you have Welly just one away from the Nightfall, so there is a win con that's very present, and hey, they do have 3 stingers. Those feel like they're as good as rifles on plenty of rounds we've seen this year. So you can certainly see the potential. You know, get Welly that orb. Try to use the Nightfall to get into the site. Again, they could go for a Nightfall with a From the Shadows. That is an option. Try and catch a defender so they can't hear anything, and then you teleport through. It's just a straight up A hit again.
Okay, well, Practo's ready for it once more. Chilling, and again, he's able to give some space in heaven if he wants to. There's always this, you know, pressure that comes in from either Bonnie or Retro here from Ropes. And Ambrosia say, well, we're going to stay and try and make this happen anyway. Bad idea, boys. And again, with only the stingers, they're going to try and find these fights where they can get them. Practo, for a time, forced out of heaven, but he instantly goes for the re-clear. Well, he was able to get in, though, and get himself a rifle. Things looking a little bit more even now. Still, Burger Boys, the players, they spread nicely here, and Ambrosia, the ones that have to show us something magical.
They're hoping at the moment that someone for Burger Boys is going to overpush. Maybe Nanners went, you know, down mid through sewer, is going to go up ramp, but that's not the case. Look at their positions. They are just playing safe, waiting for Ambrosia to come into them. I mean, Nanners just, you could see he called that one of them made sound in vent.
Stealing sight.
Nanners can get out of here, but might be sure.
Love that play.
Oh, that is...
Love that play.
Oh, buddy.
30 seconds
Getting that
left.
paranoia is huge. Quackery in here now has to go for it, of course. We're in round 12, folks. And he's got himself a little 1v1. Alvin. Here's all of this, of course. Quackery knows he's just going to try and go for it. I like it a lot. The Viper's Pit is thrown down. So Alvin's going to try and be quick about it before his health decays down, before the plan is completed. Yeah, he makes the right choice in the end. So, as the dust settles, 8 rounds in this half here for Burger Boys. And again, a pretty middling start. Let Ambrosia string those 3 rounds together. But since then, they tightened up a huge amount. Love their protocols in terms of giving up that heaven space, but still anchoring on that A side so well.
That was just not a particularly inspired attack half, if I'm being honest. That was, I think, 4 rounds in a row at the end where the first kill went to Burger Boys. And Glyph just teleporting into that dark cover. I suppose thinking that there wasn't a window for someone to get in it, but I'm not sure exactly why. And I know how Burger Boys, they did, you know, in addition to everything, win the pistols. So if Ambrosia can get things rolling in the same fashion, win this defense pistol, certainly have a game. 8-4 is incredibly doable when you're on the split defensive side.
That's it.
Toxins going
Of
up.
course,
Poison orb
got the
emitting.
double controller set up on this defense side, which is Burger Boys did. He's going to be Glyph will be challenged in a moment, most likely. He'll have Akri in to play off him, Rafter side, and it looks like Welly's even drifting over, still holding all of that util, which in mid-round could be quite relevant.
Cover going out.
Playing up sound cues by the looks of things. Smoke to mid, so they're equivalent, I guess, of the poison orb toggle. Retro did not buy one. Retro actually went other forms of util. He does have the poison orb, sorry. Nice and close. So again, stall
Poison's off.
these controllers.
And on the dark cover is cycle, but Retro, perfect timing, and now it's just Glyph caught between all of the players.
The fact that he gets so far up mid, and with the defender side had smoke up there. For whatever reason, Satellite is just unaware that a player has lurked away up mid. All too easy for Retro, outfoxes the defenders. I mean, this is just feels like a non-starter, especially with Alvin ringing some shots out across to catch Welly.
Last player standing.
This round winning for Burger Boys. Not a good sign at all for Ambrosia. Their map pick, by the way. Haven't seen him out of too much. Flawless on the pistol.
It feels like, I don't want to get ahead of myself, but it's kind of just feeling like this is done. They seem lifeless on this map right now. Which is bizarre given how well they were playing on the first two. I hate to bring in, I don't even want to do this. I hate the, like, ice the kicker narrative. You know what I mean? Not a fan of that narrative. But do we have to bring it up?
I mean, kind of, because
do we
this
have
is-
to question it?
Well, this map
because-
hasn't been great for Burger Boys in the past.
No,
And most
not at
people-
all. Not even recently. It's been good. They've been struggling here on split.
Most people look at, you know, going to this map thinking that this might end up as a 3-0 series and send Ambrosia straight onto that final. There's some grit here. These Burger Boys have got the dog in them. Now, as a unit drifting over towards the B side, the gamble here for Ambrosia is just a big mid presence, and they don't show themselves, in fairness. But there is nothing here to slow down these attackers. Burger Boys thinking about that 10th round here, most likely. Does Ambrosia have to decide if they even bother going for it?
Feels like Retro's just going to have a nice opportunity to harvest a bunch of kills here. Bonnie trying to get over 2 assists running through B main.
And that's it. They realized no more ult orbs. They don't want to be giving them over, especially not to a Viper. So, group up by the cover of this smoke. Make sure you perish to the blast and start thinking a little bit about how this attack side might look from Burger Boys. Of course, Ambrosia going up against the bonus that's a little, you know, potentially a little wonky. Practice probably can buy something half decent here, but really need to stick the landing on this first gun round for the defenders.
Oh, yeah, now 1 weapon loss for Burger Boys into this. Surely they only get 1 kill. Only 1 orb thrown over to Retro, who has just been easily the best player on this map right now at 18-6. On defense, was finding all of the perfect opportunities to run through smokes, flood into sites, collect multi-kills while the anchors were distracting. And then now on attack on the pistol round, just gets that lovely lurk up mid for that B split to come in. I mean, both of these rounds, it feels like there's barely been any action, and Burger Boys have won them decisively.
You're not wrong. There has not been any action. It was a flawless pistol into a, you know, a pretty uninspired attempt from Ambrosia to get back into the game. This, of course, is a very different story. It has to be. Something the Burger Boys did really well on their defense side was just not giving up anything for 3 through mid. A lot of this spam through smoke bananas, getting good early picks. And quick rotation through ropes to heaven in case that was challenged. Ambrosia spread a little bit differently with actually a much further forward presence on the A side of the map.
Satellite really wants to hold close here, and why not? He has the getaway mechanic. Retro barrel is spotted. Barely wins out the duel. That was scrappy.
Right to win though. Action's over at B. Bonnie's already gotten himself up mid yet again. Okay. from Raptor. He's just doing it again. This is exactly what Retro was able to make happen. The split just dominates the B site. And as good and proactive as Ambrosia were on A, it's a very different story on the opposite side of the map. It's on Welly. A save, I think, is in order, and he knows it. Off we go.
Feels like we're watching a completely different team. Bizarre that 2 times now that mid lurk has just gotten a free round win for Burger Boys. This time, I suppose, even more successful just because Bonnie's able to get 2, completely unaware that window was open, or feeling like it's left open, but surely no one will be taking advantage of this. It's just unlikely, but it's been exploited twice.
This map might end up being shorter than the actual tech pause that preceded it at this rate.
I think you're actually right.
Yeah. The way the cookie crumbles sometimes, folks. Clearly, Practo was able to get online in no time. It doesn't seem to be affected by this at all. So, might have a series still on our hands.
Anyone feeling generous?
Sunset next up. Obviously, a map that's more recently made its way back into the pool, floated by both of these squads. Who knows what we're going to get from that? Here's this, again, this grip up. I mean, the mid-hold looks so vastly different between these 2 teams. Ambrosia really not able to stop any split attempt. I blame you, Wyatt, actually, honestly, because you're the one, I think, that made plans in like an hour. So think about that.
I thought about it. Nah, not on me.
Okay. Right.
Thought about it. Nah, yeah, not wrong. Welly trying to get a bit of information here, just sending out that Prowler. Don't think he expects there are 2 players staring right at him in this situation. Boombot flash, swing, shut down by Satellite, who's able to... Oh, no, can't escape. I'll trade 1 back.
That is enough, though. I think this is the first time that Burger Boys have sort of realized how far forward Ambrosia are liking to play on this A side. I don't know if they got much of a glimpse of that in the previous round. But that guiding light went over Satellite's head, so pretty easy little sequence for him. What's happening in mid? This time Acreon is determined not to let anyone magically find their way on rafters as if they just walked through a wardrobe. In the back of a lion that could talk. Room here is where Glyph is starting to inch forward. Okay, he's ready for it. Better looks from Ambrosia. Again, it's a buy that features 3 Guardians, so definitely the kind of round you walk into pretty nervously. 7 rounds behind. And of course, Burger Boys have got that paper. All those months of putting fries in the bag have got themselves in a position to buy to the next few rounds. Eventually, Practo was dealt with. An unlikely kill for Nanas to find there, but his reign will be put to a stop pretty quickly. So, 16 rounds of play down. Ambrosia have gotten their 5th.
Still a long way to go for them. And we are close to getting a lot of vaults for Burger Boys as well. Not on this round, but, you know, theoretically, let's say Ambrosia get this one. I think it would be the one after that that have 3 ults, it looked like. Yeah, Bonnie close, Practo close. Retro getting there as well. Would be more than enough to close out this game.
All right, let's see how it plays out with the 3-player spread towards mid. So it's 1-3-1 this round for Burger Boys. Ambrosia again just want to kind of work this crossfire. Ran with a judge in hand and made noise as well, taking out the Trailblazer. Okay. Satellite is looking to peak, looking to be more proactive. We didn't see that at all from Burger Boys. I mean, instead it was Retro in the same position, just holding it down, staying safe. A risk taken there by Satellite, punished dearly. Might even be enough time in this series for Bonnie to get going. That's something that we sort of haven't discussed much on this map. The judge, though, good position for that to be. Cybercage here not necessarily benefiting the attack side. Alpha the one to suffer as a result. Fitting, I suppose. Fevered trades. Glyph getting that one is massive. He's able to drop back off the site with no spike planted. And group up here with Welly.
Now that is sharp. Listen, if I'm the Burger Boys coach, though, and I'm watching these guys be in a 2v2, I would love to have my 2 players be Nanners and Retro right now. Nanners has been so clutch all day.
Spot both rafters. These Okay, just the one. The decay that can't be capitalized on by the defenders, but will the immobility work? Nope, there's Retro and Nanas do what they do. You called it, Wyatt. Map point here for Burger Boys. Looking to get their first of this best of 5 series on the board. And frankly, they've been stunning. Great showing here from Retro. And they haven't needed a raw carry performance from their duelist yet in this series. Ambrosia with a timeout now, of course. We need to discuss where they go from here.
We are headed towards what would be the most dominant map win so far. Ambrosia just really looking lifeless on a lot of these rounds. Where you've got Retro looking like a star player right now. And really the Burger Boys team just playing with a lot more confidence in some of these instances, taking advantage of gaps that they're finding in the map, going for very aggressive lurks.
30 seconds left.
And on account of the kills, the plant, etc. on this last round, they've gotten some of those ults that I was talking about active to close out this game. Win it 13-5. They have a showstopper and the Seekers to play with. That's more than enough to crack a site open.
I mean, they are looking like a drastically better team, not just compared to their previous maps, but also over Ambrosia, who, I don't know, man. Some of these defense side rounds, they've been looking to try and generate some action. Just let's see what they can get done. They probably realize this game's out of their hands at this point. So what are they mixing? Again, it's going to be another judge round for Akri, and he is over towards the ramp side instead, though, and likely to see some action here.
Oh, instant teleport down mid from Satellite. That is crazy. Bracto is he's definitely aware. He knows the presence is being shown. In the meantime, Burger Boys, they want to take ramp.
Not what he's looking for with that. Judge is funny. Showstopper, he touches down. That is going to cut Ambrosia now down to 3. Sean Nex has got a lot of work to do. A real standout earlier in this series than yesterday. Not even he's able to make the difference for Ambrosia, though. Paltry 5 rounds picked up on split so far.
Those Seekers were going for a cross-map journey. This paranoia should be good to catch both Ambrosia players while they're trying to get out here.
Banked by Glyph.
Does go a little bit early.
Yeah. Not really catching on to them by the looks of things. Here come Ambrosia. Alvin spots one Rafters. That's called out. Nana's timing would have been an issue if Alvin weren't watching his 6. Now, though, he's still got 2 more to work with. Nanas is just having a day. Far too solid. And not enough time for a defuse. Bracto.
Perfect flash.
Yep. Stunning stuff. It will be Burger Boys get themselves a map in this series finally. Split that maybe the least expected. The kind of map where they haven't had these great performances so far, but they rally at just the right time. And they